For the last piece of news before we go into the rumour look back and the Raw preview, let's talk about what the WWE offered Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan in order to try and make them stay. And it includes certain WWE forbidden doors that they were willing to open. AEW All Out featured the latest movement of the infamous Forbidden Door branding as your hero and mine, Murder Grandpa Minoru Suzuki, arrived to beat the hell out of Jon Moxley. This is objectively awesome for anybody unaware. These two have fought already in New Japan and it was just brutal in the best of ways. If you are not aware of the Murder Grandpa, the guy is brutal, murderous, and incredibly stylish. Incredibly stylish. While the Forbidden Door has provided a major boost to AEW in general, it hasn't provided all that big a boost for anybody else. Impact have perhaps benefited the most, but New Japan have basically not benefited at all. We also had confirmation this week of just what the WWE had offered Daniel Bryan in the attempt to get him to stay, though I will have to get used to saying Bryan Danielson rather than Daniel Bryan. We already knew that the WWE had held talks with New Japan with the intention of allowing Bryan Danielson and maybe others of his stature to work over in Japan. This would have meant Bryan Danielson in a G1 tournament or maybe Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom, both of which are very, very exciting concepts. Those talks were unfortunately not the most successful, and Bryan left before they could really take off as required. Instead, we now have Bryan Danielson in AEW with a Forbidden Door wide open in front of him. And yet, we still don't have any AEW talent in the G1 Climax. No Moxley, no Omega, no Cole O'Brien, no Punk, no Christian. It's a G1 Climax very lacking in gaijin talent. We're about to enter a new era for Bryan Danielson. An era that I'm going to be referring to as the Exhibitionist Dragon era. He's going to be going out there and putting on fantastic exhibition matches week in and week out across multiple companies. Everywhere you go, you're going to see it. You know? Exhibitionist Dragon here. Exhibitionist Dragon there. Sometimes, when you close your eyes, the Exhibitionist Dragon is going to be burned in. Because it's going to be the most memorable thing on every card, everywhere you go. Once you've seen the Exhibitionist Dragon have an exhibition match, you will never quite see the same again. He's going to show the world what he's all about and just how talented he is, and you're going to see it anywhere and everywhere. Literally, everywhere you look, there it is. Though what I will say is that AEW, New Japan, and even the WWE need to actually capitalise on things like the Forbidden Door as a way to gain new fans, because there is absolutely a major problem right now with how wrestling companies are treating their fans. I've seen far too many people recently suffering from DMCA and copyright strikes going against them from the big wrestling companies. Don't open a Forbidden Door if you're not going to like what's on the other side. As regards Adam Cole, the offer was great. The offer was huge numbers. The offer was huge pushes. The offer was not Twitch. And as I have mentioned earlier, I don't believe any offer would have been sufficient to keep Adam Cole in the WWE. KJ says, speaking of that Bryan WWE deal, what if the deal was you can go anywhere but AEW? It wasn't. They were trying to line up New Japan, and to my knowledge, only New Japan at that time. Jay Quick says, the look on Moxley's face was like, no, not you, anybody but you, Suzuki. To be fair, Suzuki's like the one guy, like the one guy that he cannot quite survive. You know? He's the one guy that Moxley can throw everything at, and Suzuki will literally just say more please. You know? Just more please. That's what it would be. Sean says, do you think Damien could take the US title with him to SmackDown and Nakamura take the Intercontinental title to Raw in the draft, or would they swap titles? They only swap titles when it's matching titles, so women's titles or tag team championships. They would just swap brands and take their championships with them. This has been proven before. Paris says, I love that his theme says, you're going to get your fucking head kicked in. Yeah. Yeah, his New Japan theme's the best. Connor says, do you think Punk will start wrestling more now he's had his first match, or do you think it will only be special dynamites and pay-per-views? I would imagine Punk is going to have a very similar wrestling schedule to Roman Reigns, in that he wrestles very rarely on Dynamite or Rampage, but when he does, it's a big deal. I think he's also going to have a bit of an exhibitionist moment, but Exhibitionist Dragon is where it's at. No, Parrot, it was not. But one of many people who've suffered in that regard. There's a number of other people who've been caught with DMCA strikes recently. Para says that explains a tweet Cole made saying, I love you, Chugs Army. To be fair, that may also be because he just genuinely loves the Chugs Army. Like, you get feelings for people on Twitch. Like, I love you guys. That's the genuine thing. Like, it's also familial. You feel like you never want to be without them. It's a thing. It's a thing.